Can you confirm whether the suspect's a male, female? We've heard that it's a transgender person. Is that something that you have in terms of information?
So what I can say right now that we have identified the person, the suspect, by a birth name. The birth name was Robert Dorgan. We have also learned that the person does go by the name of Roberta, also uses a last name of Esposito. But again, that will be all confirmed throughout the course of the investigation as to their status. That really doesn't have anything to do with the investigation.
Do you have an age? An age of the suspect?
1969 he was born.
Well, I wish I could say it was a good morning, everybody. That is Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Gonzalez, if I'm not mistaken, speaking yesterday after the tragic events at Lynch Arena in Pawtucket, Rhode Island on Senior Day. Just heard Chief say 56-year-old Robert Dorgan, a.k.a. Roberta Esposito, shot 4 family members, a family friend, killed 2, injured 3 others, and shot himself. This all happened during the St. Raphael Providence Country Day, North Providence, North Smithfield Co-op Day, participating in the Blackstone Valley School against Coventry, Rhode Island. And right away, I'm going to welcome in my mentor, my dear friend, and somebody who's very close to this situation up in Rhode Island, in West Warwick, Rhode Island, the one and only John Parenti. Hang on, John, let me just turn this music down here a second. Doing a whole bunch for my producer, Angel Martinez, is not here. Good morning, John. How are you? Thanks for taking a few minutes this morning.
No problem, Pete. Thanks a lot. Doing well. How about you?
It's hard to sleep last night. Really was. I stayed up, watched the whole Iowa State-Houston game, and that went late, a little late. But it's just, it was hard. Just trying to, process all of this. And it hits
all of the interscholastic community, all of the state, practically all of the nation. There are so many layers to this, Pete. There's the safety issue. The interscholastic league has issues. There are plenty of things to talk about.
There are just a couple of sound bites, John, I want to play. I only have a couple here. You just heard Police Chief Tina Gonzalez. Yeah. There's 2 more short cuts I want to play just so people get. I can't show the video today because Angel's not here. I can only play audio. Here is one of the Melissa Dunn, who was in the stands. I'm not sure, John, you might know if she is a Coventry mom or one of the other school's moms, but here is her take on what happened.
And the first thing I thought was, where's my kid? So, I kind of turned around and looked towards the stands, and he was still standing there, and I was just screaming for him to get down. And they were just going across the ice back to the locker room. So we ran out of the rink, and then your first thought is, where's my kid? So I tried to get back in the rink, and I actually got back in there to try to find out where he was, and I saw them doing CPR in the stands, and it was really disturbing, And it's the other team's senior day, like it was supposed to be a special day for the team, and it's just really sad.
When you came back in, you saw them working on something?
Yeah, they were working on a couple of people in the stands.
More than one person?
I believe so, yeah. There was 5 or 6 stretchers that came in there, so.
All right, more on that in a second. And then Olin Lawrence, and again, John, I don't know, and we'll get your reaction in a second. This young man was on the ice at Lynch Arena in Pawtucket, and he talked about what he went through at that time.
I was on the ice, and I thought it was balloons at first. It was like bop, bop, and I thought it was balloons. But it just kept going, and it was actually gunshots. And after the gunshots, me and my teammates ran right to the locker room, and we just bunkered up, and we pressed against. My bad. I'm sorry. We pressed against the door and just tried to stay safe down in there. But no, it was very scary. We were very nervous.
All right, first, let me just get this out of the way. Those of you, thank you for checking out the show, Pete Sheppard Show here. I only do about 1 a week or 1 every 2 weeks now, for now anyway. On the Coastal Sports Digital Network, and you can watch on the video platform. My Facebook page has been restored from EV Muck, so you can watch on my Facebook page. Follow on Twitter, X at PShep326, on the Odyssey app, CSDN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, And if you want to text the show, 727-858-6650. Can't take phone calls today because Angel is in Tampa and is not with us today. I'm in Fort Myers. John Parenti, I believe, is in West Warwick, Rhode Island. Very close. If you don't know John's credentials, Rhode Island broadcaster, Hall of Famer, and is tied in especially to the high school community around the entire state, not just the Coventry, West Warwick area, but as anybody you will find in New England. You're an amazing guy, my mentor. But this is something that it hits home for me. I'm going to get your reaction, John. I'll let you have the floor in a second. It certainly hits home to me because you and I broadcast games from there. It was one of my
in that building. The configuration of that building is
it's
very much conducive to what happened yesterday. It's just
yeah,
it's unspeakable.
Is one of the first arenas, maybe second or third arena I ever broadcast high school hockey from. The reason why I got into the business because I wanted to do play-by-play, and you allowed me to do it, and it was fantastic. But had all positive memories from that place, from that building, from Lynch Arena, along with all the other arenas. But still, it really hits home. It's my home state, even though I lived most of my life in Massachusetts. It's still Rhode Island is my home state, and the hockey community. We know the sports community is very close knit, especially in Rhode Island. The hockey community, I think, around New England. And I told you, I texted this last night. I'm not going to be surprised if they don't say something at the Olympics in Italy about this, if they haven't already, because the hockey community is so tight. I know the Bruins have already reached out and a lot of other organizations, but this happened right before 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon at Lynch Arena in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Again, St. Ray's, Providence Country Day, North Providence, North Smithfield participating in the Blackstone Valley Co-op against Coventry. All the players and parents accounted for, except for the aforementioned people that were shot by this dirtbag, Robert Dorgan or Roberta Esposito. But okay, John, the floor is yours. Where were you when you first heard the news?
I first heard of it. I was back at home, and I got a phone call saying, "I hope those Coventry kids are okay." And then I said, "Well, what went on?" And I was told there was a report of a shooting at Lynch Arena, and one thing led to another, and we took a look at what was going on, and sure enough, the inevitable happened, and it's just shaken up a bunch of people. It didn't hit home for me, Pete, until my wife came in the den here where we're broadcasting from, and said, "Thank God," meaning thank God it wasn't me doing the game or whatever, in that type of a situation. If you check the footage, and I think the Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Gunsov said it, there was a good Samaritan,
yes,
who helped defuse the situation, and then moments later, Dorgan shot himself.
When you see the video, and I've seen slow motion of it. You see the guy come down the stands, which is probably where we would be broadcasting from in that place at that time. And he had a white hat. He had a white knit hat on, I believe. And you see him slowly come down and pull out the gun and start shooting. And then the second weapon, I guess, is what he used to shoot himself. Coward shithead that he is, a little scumbag.
There are so many layers to this, like I was saying, Pete. There's the immediate reaction. Where did he get the gun from? Where did he purchase it? How did he purchase it? If you knew that he had mental health issues, how do you allow someone to have that weapon? Then it goes further than that. What was the domestic dispute? Was it centralized just to those family members who unfortunately lost their lives? Then you move on to the broader spectrum. What is the interscholastic league going to do about health and safety? Don't parents and students deserve to be safe when they participate in high school athletics? How far will this reach? Will it go into basketball? Will it go into volleyball, indoor track? In just a couple of weeks, we start the baseball and softball season. What happens then? What safeguards are going to have to be made by communities, by their school committees, by their police departments? This thing is a far-reaching effect on an awful lot of people, Pete.
And I don't just think of Rhode Island, John. I think this is going to have a snowball effect on the entire nation, because usually stuff like, unfortunately, it takes tragedies like this for people to be proactive instead of doing it before something like this happens. So my gut feeling is it's going to be like going into, at least for hockey and basketball games. I can't speak for what's going to happen outside for baseball and outdoor track and and other sports. But I got to figure, John, that at least for the time being, for hockey rinks, and basketball arenas, it's gonna be like going to the airport. You're gonna have to go through metal detectors, and there's gonna be, a search of
Bag checks, yeah.
pocketbooks and everything else, and it's like going into Gillette. You can't get into Gillette without being. You're not gonna get away, or I suppose there's always a will, or there's a way for somebody's very creative, but it's going to be very, very difficult now, and it's going to be a pain, but a necessary one to prevent something like this from happening again.
And Pete's going to be a smaller scale too for, excuse me, Division II, Division III colleges and universities as well. I mean, the liability on the possibility of this happening at their locations has just been increased a lot because of what happened in Pawtucket yesterday.
Yeah, and then you had, I still don't know her name. I'm going to play this as well, John, real quick. This is one of the daughters who if you could see her, you'd see she's in complete shock as she's walking towards either police investigation or I thought I had it. Maybe I don't.
The WCVB interview?
Yeah, I thought I had. No, I don't have. But she said it's my father. My father's the shooter. He
Quote
killed
unquote had mental issues.
Killed our family. He had mental issues. And he was very ill. And but you get the idea. But she was walking, as you would expect, in total shock to the authorities or whoever. And they said, from what I understand, they've done at least 100 interviews thus far, and I can only imagine what the mood is like up there today.
And the young man you had on beforehand was the goalie for the Coventry team. Now picture this. He is centralizing his thoughts on the puck moving up and down the rink. And
that was Olin Lynch, right? That Olin
yeah.
Lynch kid.
It was in the third or fourth minute of the first period.
Yeah.
So here he is, and all of a sudden he hears what he thinks are cherry bombs or balloons or whatever.
Yeah, popping.
And all of a sudden it's gunshots. So the first thing you do is, well, do I protect my goal or do I leave? And fortunately, if you listen to the video, you'll see that the referee blew their whistle and just escorted or just instructed all the players to get off the ice. And there's only maybe one or two exits off the rink to the locker room. So that must have been a congested area as well.
The far side of the rink.
Right. And there's only one side of stands at that arena. There are not two side of stands.
Yeah.
So for fans to leave, matter of fact, where that photo was taken or where that video was taken on Live Barn, they're off in the corner of the rink, furthest from the doors, the entries to the rink. So it must have been an extremely congestive and very tense area, people trying to get out.
And that brave soul, who I don't know his name, that's the unfortunate. I mean, maybe you do, who jumped in and tried to take action. I mean, wow.
There's been no identification yet.
Yeah, no identification yet. But what a brave guy. And this dirtbag. I don't even want to say his name, either one of them. But to get one weapon in is hard enough. To get two, I mean, he got two in. And I'm not sure the caliber of the weapon or whatever, but the second one is the one that he shot himself with.
I'm sure that'll all come out today, Pete. It was only a matter of seconds, really, from the shooting of the family members and the family friend who is right now in critical condition at Rhode Island Hospital. But between that moment and the moment when he shot himself.
And so to confirm, obviously, he killed himself. He shot his daughter, right? He shot.
Yeah, it's been reported that the sibling was a female, so it was his daughter, his wife and daughter. He shot his wife and daughter.
Yeah.
A family friend and two other members of the family are in critical condition right now at Rhode Island Hospital.
Apparently, they were divorced. I think I read in 2020.
They were divorced. Yeah, 2020, I believe.
This guy is transgender. He's into bikes. He looks like, he looks a little nuts, to be honest with you, and tattoos all over him. That's fine, but he's, dressed as a woman in a gym and into bikes and everything else. Made all sorts of threatening tweets yesterday before this incident to several people, and it's just, I think you hit the nail on the head. We got to try to figure out how people like this are to get firearms. And I know we always say that, and I've always, you can have the strictest gun laws in the country. If somebody, somebody will find a way if they really want to get something. I just I just hope it gets made to be a tad bit more difficult, even if it's 1%. But we got to figure out how this guy, his family should have had him, even if they had to clunk him over the head in some kind of mental institution. And it's not just because he's transgender. It's from the other stuff. You go back, and I've seen some of the tweets he has made. I mean, he threatened people all over the place yesterday, and it's just I'm at a loss how scumbags like this continue.
Peter,
To
family
get out.
members know if family members know someone has mental issues, it's critically incumbent upon them to make sure that that person gets treated to the best of their ability. And apparently, somebody dropped the ball there.
No, there's no question about it. Like I said, I think, and I don't know when Rhode Island Interscholastic League. Like I said, this is going to affect. I don't know who's playing. I mean, obviously, I'm down here in Fort Myers, so I don't know. And I'm wondering even what happened there is going to affect. The Red Sox are 2 miles away from me, where I live in JetBlue, Hammond Stadium, where the Twins are right over there, and I get the feeling that security is going to be tightened up. I think all over the country, no matter where you are, because of this, and it's such a shame. I just think initially, John, around at least in Rhode Island anyway, it's gonna be like TSA. You're gonna be screened at least on indoor basketball or hockey games.
And I think you're going to have to see a mandatory police presence at the outdoor events, indoor track, baseball, softball. Those seasons are coming up. The Interscholastic League, by the way, Pete, has postponed all activities to basically gain insight
Yeah.
as to what happened and how to regroup as a unit as to what to do now in the future and what the short-term and long-term effects of this incident will be.
And you gotta wonder where all these wonderful kids are, psychologically. I mean, my God, I can't even imagine, counselors, what they're going through. I don't know if they had school today or not. I'm going to assume they didn't. At least the schools that were.
No, it's winter vacation week here.
Oh, okay. I lose track of that. Okay. That's right. Which was one of the reasons why, senior night, and it wasn't senior night for Coventry. It was senior night for the other schools that were playing in the co-op game. But I can't even imagine what some of these kids must be going through. I just can't imagine.
There were a few extra hugs from family members when they saw them. The other thing is, Pete, they were so distraught. Kids and parents and those watching the game were running into a Wendy's, a Walgreens drugstore.
Yeah, I saw the Walmart.
I wouldn't be surprised if people who were herded into one building didn't realize that their sons and daughters were being herded into another, and all of that leads to, well, where's my kid? And you heard it during your passage there with the actuality that you had. There was a parent saying, "Where's my kid?" That's going to be so distressing, so hurtful, and so unnecessary.
Well, and I don't know if this is selfish of me or not. The first person I thought when I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if John's broadcasting. And I knew it was a holiday. It didn't even hit me that it was February vacation. And
that's when it hit home for me, people. My wife came into the living room, put her arms around me, and said, "Thank God it wasn't you." And that's when it struck home for me. And I've been covering these things since the Eisenhower administration.
We would have been sitting. There's no press box there. We would have been sitting in the top row of the stands like we always did. Broadcast sitting or standing mostly in the top row of the stands. And it's right, like you said. There's only one side of that arena that has stands. It's one of the smaller high school rinks in Rhode Island. I mean, it's not like Thayer or at Mount or in Providence. It was just it was unbelievable. I said, geez, John could be standing. That guy could, I could have pictured it. Back in the day, that guy could have walked down right in front of us. And, oh my goodness, it's just awful. It's just awful. Hey, Angel Martinez, our producer up in Tampa. Oh, Angel, you didn't have to pop on today. Okay. All right, let's play that if we can. That's Melissa Dunn, John, I believe. I'm not sure. Is she a parent of somebody in Coventry or one of the other schools? I'm not
I
sure.
believe she's a Coventry parent, Pete.
Okay. All right, let's see. Angel's going to punch that up. Hmm. All right.
I do want to play you that sound because this woman, she came out as well, and we started asking her about her relation to this situation, and this all unfolded right before us. Listen.
Your father was the shooter?
Yeah.
What happened?
What happened?
He shot my family, and he's dead now.
What was the reasoning? Was there a family argument?
He has mental health issues, so
Is it your daughter that was killed?
no. I don't know who was killed.
Well, Pete, I stayed
Okay,
a
so
second.
after that, a few moments later, we continued to speak with her, and she also said that her father has mental health issues, and the reason that he did this is because of that he was struggling. She said that her father is dead. She said she was also going to the hospital right now, presumably to see her other family members who may have been shot here. So that is what she just told us moments ago.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Angel, well, as long as you're doing this video here, and thank you for doing this, on my Twitter page.
One of the fascinating things about TV
to Melissa Dunn, it's under WCVB TV Boston. It's about 200 a show. I played the audio earlier, but I want people to see the video. This is the Coventry hockey player mom, Melissa Dunn. If you see it, Angel. It's on Twitter. Yep. By the way, I got my Facebook page up and running today, so thank you for that. You see, it's under WCVB TV Boston. Where's My Kid? Is from Melissa Dunn. Okay. You see it? Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I thought was, where's my kid? So, I kind of turned around and looked towards the stands, and he was still standing there, and I was just screaming for him to get down. And they were just going across the ice back to the locker room. So we ran out of the rink, and then your first thought is, where's my kid? So I tried to get back in the rink, and I actually got back in there to try to find out where he was, and I saw them doing CPR in the stands, and it was really disturbing, And it's the other team's senior day, like it was supposed to be a special day for the team, and it's just really sad.
When you came back in, you saw them working on someone?
Yeah, they were working on a couple of people in the stands.
More than one person?
I believe so, yeah. There was 5 or 6 stretchers that came in there, so. And the first thing I thought was, where's my kid?
And Angel, if we could scroll one more down, John, and then we'll get more thoughts from John. From NBC 10 WJAR, this is the hockey player Olin Lynch, the Coventry goalie, I believe, that was on the ice when the shooting occurred.
I was on the ice, and I thought it was balloons at first. It was like bop, bop, and I thought it was balloons. But it just kept going, and it was actually gunshots. And after the gunshots, me and my teammates ran right to the locker room, and we just bunkered up, and we pressed against. My bad. I'm sorry. We pressed against the door and just tried to stay safe down in there. But no, it was very scary. We were very nervous. So I was on the ice.
Yeah. Then, my God, I'm amazed at this young man, John, how composed he is after that. And you got to wonder once the dust settled, maybe.
He's probably still in shock, Pete, when you come right down to it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering for all of these young men that were in this tournament, all of them, not just the ones that were on the ice, but when I was watching initially, before I saw the guy with the white hat, dirtbag, coming down to do his thing, when the kids all rushed off the ice I was like, is there somebody on the other side? They're going to beat the crap out of him, whoever it is, because that's what it sort of looked like. It turns out I had forgotten. That's the only way out for the players is
Two doors, one for the home team, one for the visitors. That's it.
Yeah.
They take 18, 19 kids in uniforms and their coaches. You're talking maybe 20, 25 people affiliated with both teams, plus the referees trying to get out all at once after hearing gunshots. Just terrifying.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like I said, I'm expecting when they decide to resume, and I think there's going to be a huge trickle down effect around the country, at least for hockey and basketball. That it is going to be security is going to be very, very tight. People are going to bitch and moan about it because it's going to be inconvenient, but unfortunately, too many times, no matter what the situation is in life, it seems like we're never proactive until something like this happens. It's a damn shame.
Well, because it's the unthinkable, Pete. Nobody ever thought this could possibly happen anywhere, not only in Pawtucket, but anywhere. Things like this, quote unquote, just don't happen. Well, yes, they do.
Now, I want to get Angel, pop in here a second. I want to get because Angel, just to put things in perspective. So you were covering Daytona this week. You were there. I know you were busy covering a whole bunch of stuff, college sports, softball, and USF, South Florida, and whatever. But you were at Daytona. What was? It seemed everybody had a good time. The race was all that stuff. But what was? Did you? You didn't even think about security there, did you? And that's how many thousand, almost 100,000 people, right? So what was it like over there?
Yeah, you don't ever think about security when you're going to an event. You do personally, just my own opinion is because being in the military, you're always on guard no matter what when you go to an event. That's just one of those things. You're always scanning the crowd, no matter what happens. But when you go through these events, a lot of times, because you, as an average fan, you go through, you want to see what's happening, whether it's a NASCAR track, whether it's a softball field out in Clearwater. You don't think about any of that stuff because you feel that security does their job and they do their job well enough to make sure it's not lax. But we've also seen at the airports where there's still over 300 plus guns that were passed through. Granted, thankfully, none of them were loaded, I think, except for one. And half of the time, it's just people saying, I forgot that I actually had it in there. So it wasn't an immediate threat, but nonetheless, it still got through. The only thing is when you go through security, the ones that, at least that I saw, both at Daytona and over at Clearwater, they did a really good, thorough job to make sure that if there was a strict bag policy, you weren't bringing the bags in. If you had cameras, unless you were media, you were not bringing it in. So there's places that do still make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Now, in indoor arenas, that's where it still continues to be a problem because what happens is if you go to a Lightning game, for example, everything you do is on the outside. When you go up the steps, you go into the venue itself. There's a couple entrances, which is the club box suites. Those are probably the only ones that are literally on the inside. Mm-hmm. But even then, you're having an issue because whoever's going to run up them stairs and come in, either way, it's not like the doors are locked, and it can't be because obviously you need access in and out. The majority of the problem would end up being if someone gets up there, hopefully, and we hope it never happens at a major venue, but they still will be able to get in, or even during the loading docks if security is lax, or if they know that they're off at a certain time. So we just hope as people continue to go out here to these venues, always, always, always be on alert. And I know it's said, and some people hate it, but if you do see something, say something, even if it looks weird. If the person gets upset because you saw something which they thought maybe would have been a threat or something that looked good, okay, worst case scenario, you go up to the person and say, listen, I'm sorry, I just thought I saw something and it didn't happen.
Just go to the security guard and just say, you don't even have to tell the person, just say, hey, you go pull a security guard away and say, hey, something doesn't sit right here. Can you check it out for me? You don't have to identify yourself. But
the majority of the problem is that there's still, no matter how much of the immediate threat is posted out there, people they get on alert for, and it's the honest to God's truth, for about 24 to 48 hours, and then they go back to normal. Well, it's not going to happen here. Well, I'm pretty sure Rhode Island wasn't expecting for it to happen there. But because of the state of, I guess, mental health, that's what you want to call it, here in America, the way it is, unfortunately, we do have to put our guards up a lot more because it's no different. How many times did we not see shootings in supermarkets and Walmarts and other places? So this is unfortunately, and we hate to say it's going to become the norm, but it is becoming the norm because as long as people think that there's not a problem and they keep ignoring the issue, it's going to pose a bigger problem. And we just hope not. But I hope that everyone, when they go out there to the venues, no matter where you are, I don't care if it's just taking the dog for a walk in a park, always, always, always be on alert, because you can never know what happens in your hometown.
Good stuff, Angel. Like I said, John, I just see security intensifying immensely in hockey and basketball arenas. It's going to
I do too,
metal
Pete.
detectors and
remember, this state is really, because just 2 months ago we had the shooting at Brown University, which killed 2 and injured 9 others. So there's a lot of discussion about amping up security, as Angel said, in a lot of different venues, a lot of different places, and a lot of different everyday circumstances.
what is, I suppose you have to wait for the Rhode Island Interscholastic League to say you can broadcast again, but you do a lot of Coventry. You do basketball. You do hockey too, right? You're still doing hockey, but
Still doing some hockey every now and then, yes.
You do a lot of basketball. I know how close you are to Coventry. That's what I said. I was expecting, when I called you yesterday, as soon as I found out, I was like, geez, maybe I shouldn't even call, because you're so tied into that community. Coventry has always been, even though I went to Hendricken, Coventry's, the city, well, the town has already been always close to me. That's where my dad's office was for 53 years. You know, my dad was a dentist. And so on Tioga Avenue. So, of course, spent many an afternoon squirming in the chair with my dad over the years. So, but I know how tight-knit that community is. I know there's a big rivalry, obviously, with West Warwick, which you're also tightly. But the hockey community, they're going to come to, if there's a silver lining, which I mean, it's very thin, but the hockey community is going to come together to support. It doesn't matter what town or city you're from or what school you're from in Rhode Island, or probably even around the country. I'm sure that they're getting thousands of thoughts and prayers sent along the way to all these teams that were involved yesterday.
Among the first that reached out to the community were the Providence Bruins, who put out a statement and offered their support for whatever they could do to address the situation. That maybe took an hour or two to get that news release out and get that message out to the Coventry Johnston hockey community.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting. I don't know. More information is coming in. Like I said, they did 100 interviews yesterday, at least 100 that I know of, and going to be a lot more. I don't know what else you can. The other daughter kind of summed it up. My dad's killed our family. That's what she said. It's so just unbelievable to me.
And that's the reaction of the entire state, Pete, today. That is the exact reaction that most of our Islanders are feeling right now.
And I guess the fact that the kids are out of school this week is somewhat of a plus. They can be around family and friends and try to. I don't even know how you process all of this. I mean, it's just you're in shock, and these poor kids who were involved in this tournament. I worry about them, mentally, psychologically down the road. Do they want to play hockey again? I hope that's not the case, but it would not shock me if some wanted to take a break for a little bit and see how things turn out. But I know the passion of hockey in Rhode Island. It's second to none, as far as I'm concerned. And
I think in this case, Pete, kids are more resilient than parents. And hopefully, that'll be the case, and they'll be able to resume the season when the Interscholastic League says.
You know what? That's a very good point. Do you think they're going to be? I don't want to say helicopter parents, but you think there's going to be parents out there, no matter what happens now, that no, my kid's not playing hockey, at least not at this time.
I think you'll have a percentage of that, Pete, but I think in most cases you're going to see this team forge on with whatever players they have left and try to complete their season. They're not going to let this incident define who they are, what their program is.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too, John, and Pete, with that as well, is that you have to remember there's going to be a lot of people, like we always see. No one ever talks about the actual families and what they're going through. And again, getting help is the first step. We just wish there was a lot more that the medical community would take seriously when someone says, or a family member says, hey, my dad, my sister, my mom, whoever it is, has a real issue. They should investigate it more. But the first primary focus, and you're probably going to hear it a bunch today, is when people say we need to take the guns off the street. And Pete, you mentioned it earlier, where no matter who you are, you're going to get one. But at the end of the day, just like in the military, guns don't kill people. People kill people because you can have the same way with a car. You get hit by a car, but if the car is standing still and you run into it, that was your fault. So guns don't kill people. It's always a person who takes the weapon, loads it up, fires it off, because it's never going to be that case. But you're always going to hear the impactful side saying, well, let's take all the weapons away. Well, you can't. Unfortunately, you can't, because people still do have to defend themselves. And if there was armed security there, I'm pretty sure they could have done a little bit more. Thank God this wasn't worse. One life lost is too many. But that's where we need to stand today. There needs to be a lot more attention when people say to someone, my dad, someone in my family, a friend needs help. Take it more serious rather than just brushing it off or tell them, here, let me write your script. You take this and you just go away.
No truer words have been spoken, Angel. And again, Pete, that's one of the layers that we were talking about how far this thing is going to go and to what extent, it reaches. And that's exactly probably among the prime ones. They need to address more thorough mental health.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then there's always, once you start tightening up security, it's not free. It costs money. It costs a lot of money.
And that's going to be one of the practical issues as well. School committees and town councils, police departments are all going to have to address this. What's necessary at the West Warwick Civic Center or Rich Arena or at Thayer Arena in Warwick? Mm-hmm. What is going to be ample, quote unquote, ample security needed to operate high school hockey?
And even the Providence Bruins and even the Friars the rest of the way. They had their own.
And the small college teams as well, South Virginia.
Oh, yes,
CCRI, Johnson and Wales.
Johnson and Wales, absolutely. As you said, I mean, any Brown, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, high school or college at any level. Security is going to be beefed up. And like I said, I think it's going to be a trickle-down effect around the country.
Yeah.
But, all right, my friend. I don't know what else we can get into. I know information is coming in. You have, and I know you're still broadcasting from your home. And if you want to tell people how they can, because you'll have a lot more information than I will the rest of the day. I have my other gig I have to, that I'll be working today outside of the office. But how can people listen to you?
Log on to 321 Media.
321.
All right, 322 and the word was. So it's 321media.com. Our next broadcasts are scheduled for Friday night, but they're not going to happen while this starts to play itself out. And the industry classically says it's okay to return to, the basketball playoffs, the hockey playoffs, and those are right around the corner, Pete. And that's what makes this thing come at such a bad time for the state and for its athletic family. We're reaching the culmination. Rhode Island March Madness is huge out here.
Yep.
The hockey playoffs at Providence College this year. All the good stuff is coming down the pipe over the next couple of weeks. And it's probably going to take a little bit longer. It's probably going to be a little bit more stressful. And that's a shame.
It really is. And we can only hope that the enhanced security is going to prevent this from happening again. Again, thoughts and prayers to everybody in the situation. But my friend, I'm glad you're safe. I really appreciate you doing this, and your lovely wife Barbara. Thank her as well. Anybody who wants to rewatch this will be on my Facebook page and on my Twitter account. A whole bunch of other Facebook pages, CSD in Florida, on YouTube. So Instagram, LinkedIn, you can go back and if you want to, it's and hear from the great John Parenti, Rhode Island, Broadcasting Hall of Famer. And I'm sure you're going to be, whatever information comes in, you have your home studio and everything else. So it's people will be tuning in to 321.
There is still an awful lot to wrap your heads around. It's like I said, in the state of Rhode Island, that basically people don't even realize exists at times. They think we're part of New York. They think we're part of Massachusetts. Now with the Brown University shooting and with this, we've unfortunately made our mark for all the wrong reasons.
Indeed, and hopefully, I know not just the whole state, but the hockey community will we'll overcome. They'll band together, and we'll get through this. We'll get through this. Anyway, John, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And
I'll stay in touch, Mick.
I will. And thoughts and prayers to everybody, and hugs to you and Bab and Barbara, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, my friend.
All right, thank you. John Parenti, Rhode Island Broadcasting Hall of Famer, here joining on the Pete Sheppard Show. Angel, thanks for doing it. You didn't have to pop on. I know you're busy with a lot of stuff going on up in Tampa as well. But just John was one of the first people I thought of yesterday because he's my mentor. He's one of the guys that really stood behind me in this business. And while I was coming up a couple of stations I worked at, and he was a big part of why I kept going in this business. So he's a special friend, but this is I thought he might be broadcasting at that game. Like I said, that was one of the first arenas I broadcast at back in the day. I can't remember who it was, but I was 20 years old, and it's a smaller arena, even for Rhode Island. It's a smaller arena for high school hockey, but we used to broadcast game. There's no press box there, so you were in the stands, standing and all that stuff. And I know exactly where that scumbag came from, because it's exactly where he came down from the top of the stands, and that's exactly where we would have been broadcasting from back in the day. But anyway, so how are you doing?
Other than crazy busy with a bunch of stuff going on here behind the scenes, but other than that, nuts. Over the weekend, it was just a busy weekend, a lot of running around. Thanks for ESPN Events for having us out there too for the softball tournament, the Shriners Clearwater Invitational. Great crowd on hand. Security actually did a really good job. As much as they were trying to be friendly with a lot of folks, but everybody just came because they were trying to thaw out from the cold from everywhere. So it was just overall a really good experience. The event will be here for another 2 years, which is nice. And the way to have it set up.
Who's in that? USF's in that. It's a big softball tournament, right?
Yeah, no, USF wasn't invited this season. They were, I think it was either last year or the year before they were invited. But no, UCF was there.
Okay.
Yeah, Georgia, the Lady Vols, OSU. So there was a UCLA who came out from the West Coast, and they had some fans out there as well. I think LSU represented really well because their fan base is absolutely nuts. They're fun, but they're nuts. And there's one, and I don't believe the guy is a coach. He could be, don't get me wrong, but he was behind the cage. And I believe the back of his jersey said Hernandez. He had this thick, like the rope chains that you normally wear, like you buy to support your team. But he got the crowd fired up, so he was good. And then one of the Nebraska kids' dad was there. And of course, they wear the red and white jumpers, and you could not miss this guy all weekend long. But overall, it was good. Daytona was fun. A great finish at the very end, which was exciting for a lot of folks. And I'm glad that NASCAR decided to move it up for an hour because the rain that came in afterwards would have put a lot of damper on the spirits and pictures and all that ended up taking. But Michael Jordan, not only is he an NBA champion, now also the World Center of Racing champion with the Daytona 500 victory. So
Joey Logano had a $4 bet that would pay back $58.12, and he finished third, skidding through at the very end. That craziness. I didn't watch 1 second of the NBA All-Star, whatever the fuck that was. I didn't watch it at all. Not one damn second. I don't know how these people are saying that the ratings are up. I thought it was terrible. I had no interest in it at all. Watched a lot of Olympic hockey, men and women mostly, and Pebble Beach was fantastic finish, just awesome. So that was. I had no interest at all in whatever.
Pete,
and then Jaylen Brown was trying to do a big event in Beverly Hills, and they shut him down. He was doing a culture and a nice event that was going to do a lot of good for a lot of people. That I think was $60 million event, whatever it was, and some a-hole shut him down because of lack of a permit, where other people were allowed to. I don't know. It was just a shame. Just a shame.
The one thing I want to ask you too, because I see a couple of speaking of golf, a couple of guys are leaving Live and going back to the PGA. Are things falling apart for Live, or what's the deal there?
I just think, I don't know. I don't know if it's falling apart. I mean, there's so much money involved. I mean, it's going to be hard to fall apart, especially the money they offer to go play in that. But I thought some of the contracts were supposed to last longer, and I can't get caught up in that stuff anymore. I'm not surprised by it, and I won't be surprised if others make the jump to Live from the PGA Tour. But I don't usually follow Live golf except what I see. I don't go out of my way to watch it on TV. But Pebble Beach, people were glued to, I'm sure, in that All-Star game. I mean, the slam dunk, the highlights of the slam dunk contest. If that's what your winner is, I mean, it's just so awful. And only Wilbon and what's his name really ripped it yesterday for just not being exciting. And I don't know how the NBA is spewing the fact that it's up is something like 78%. I don't know anybody that watched that stuff Sunday. I don't know anybody.
No, it's no different than the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl has become an absolute joke. I mean, they did it inside the indoor venue.
Football. It's flag football.
I mean, that's become a joke as well. No one who in the right mind bought a ticket to go out there to San Fran, and then because they didn't want it on the field, they wanted to have two different venues set up, but there wasn't. To me, if you're going to do something like that, just invite family and friends. Make it like a night for the players. If you guys are going to just play flag football, have a cookout, whatever, do whatever you want to do. You might as well just cut out the fans at that point, or just have like an autograph signing day for the fans. But no one's. I mean, it's bad, and the scores are going to be run up, so that's nothing new. And the guys just want to go out there and have fun. I get it because that's what the agents want for them. But when you watch it, it was just like, really, this is where we're coming down to. So there was no. Events leading up to it as far as, the way it was when they were in Atlanta last year. And I don't know if this is going to be the new norm now for the NFL, that everywhere they go for the host venue, which I'm pretty sure they'll probably do it again because it's going to go to LA next year, but they'll probably have the Pro Bowl / Super Bowl all in the same area to make it convenient, I guess, for folks. But I also know that Orlando Stadium is getting their $400 million upgrade, and that it's got to be done prior to the Jaguars getting there, so that the Jaguars can get there.
That's how you get a Super Bowl. You upgrade your stadium, and you have it's 5 years in advance, and that's what happens. Unfortunately, back in the day, Jacksonville was not ready.
Right
now, hopefully, they'll do a much better job after this renovation, because you've heard me tell the stories over and over again. That city just simply was not prepared. Not that the people weren't nice and everything; it wasn't their fault. But they had 5 years to prepare for that game, and they weren't even close. They weren't even remotely close to handling that amount of influx of people. I told you, bars and restaurants were half full because that's all that they didn't have enough workers.
Right.
And 5 years to prepare for it, and it sucked. All right, my friend. What? Anything else coming up on the network? Because I have to go prepare for my other gig. Anything else coming up on the network today?
Today is Tuesday. Duncan Dad. Ain't That Right with Duncan Dad? That'll be on at 1 o'clock, so you guys can check that out. And tomorrow will be Wednesday. We the Thunder podcast. If you guys have not watched the show, both Shuli and Shooter do an absolute great job with everything from Tampa Bay Lightning, whether it's trades, talks, the Stadium Series. If you guys have not checked out that show, check out their show. They do an absolute phenomenal job. And then Thursday, Duncan Dad will be back, and that's pretty much it for the network. There's a couple things that could be happening here as I run myself all over the place. But hopefully at one point I will try to bring back Martinez Company. I know I've had people reach out saying if I'm going to bring it back, but once things kind of calm down and other things are taken care of, making sure my dad is fine, then things will hopefully get back into a little bit better of a rhythm here.
Sending good thoughts.
I'm trying, Rick.
Rick, bring back. Thank you, Spalding and Otis, for all the comments, and George as well. I and Pete, we might try to do a show on Friday. I'm not sure yet. This is the time of year, and I love college basketball. Like I said, the Houston Iowa State game last night was phenomenal. Two of the best teams in the country going at it. But this is there's a void when there's no football.
Yeah.
And there's 199 days until there's football again. And counting them down.
Or if you count the UFL, that's right around the corner.
I don't watch that. Can't get into it. It's not the same. Can't, even from a betting standpoint, no interest in it. Doesn't do it for me. USFL didn't really do it for me either. And they had superstars in that league.
Sure did.
So, all right, my friend, thanks so much for taking a few moments. All the best to you and Deb and your families. And I'll be in touch. I got other stuff going on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, but I will get back to you Thursday night, and maybe we'll string together a show on Friday to do some spring training baseball down here. A lot of my friends are down here, down the street, staying at around JetBlue. By the way, the traffic patterns are going to be very interesting as they do some construction from 10 o'clock at night till 5 in the morning, coming off
Around your way?
75 in Daniels. Oh yeah. Yep.
Holy craps.
Yep. But it's not supposed to affect JetBlue 3 hours before, 3 hours after, and then all hell will break loose again. But anyway, we digress. Once again, thanks to John Parenti, Rhode Island broadcaster, Hall of Famer, and to anybody who was at Lynch Arena in Pawtucket, Rhode Island yesterday. Please, it's not Pawtucket, it's Pawtucket. Pretend the W is not there. Anyone in Pawtucket yesterday for Senior Day, as Coventry took on the co-op team of St. Ray's, Providence Country Day, North Providence, North Smithfield. Thoughts and prayers to all of you and your respective families and the not only the state of Rhode Island, the whole hockey community. I am Pete here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. He is Angel Martinez. And wishing you a great day, everybody. And we'll talk soon, maybe on Friday, but stay tuned. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.